The Earth is a giant ecological system. Sunlight streams in to provide energy for life. Water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen are raw materials that flow in great cycles through the living and non-living world. As long as the sun shines, energy for life is renewed. But the raw materials used by living things to survive must be recycled and used over and over again. More than 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered with water, but only a very small part of it can be used by living things. The Earth's water is recycled in a process called the hydrologic cycle. Water from lakes, rivers, and oceans evaporates and enters the air in the form of water vapor. As air close to the ground rises, it cools, and the water vapor condenses back into liquid water. These water droplets form clouds. When clouds collect more water than they can hold, the moisture falls as precipitation. Much of the precipitation collects in lakes, rivers, and oceans, and the entire process is repeated continuously. The hydrologic cycle provides water that all organisms need for survival. The Earth's atmosphere contains many of the raw materials needed by plants and animals for survival. Oxygen is necessary for the survival of animals, and carbon dioxide is necessary for the survival of plants. Oxygen and carbon are cycled through producers, consumers, and decomposers in the oxygen and carbon cycles. As green plants use carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce food in the process of photosynthesis, they also produce an important byproduct, oxygen. This oxygen is released into the atmosphere and inhaled by air-breathing organisms. They in turn exhale carbon dioxide, which goes back into the atmosphere to be used again by green plants to make food and oxygen. Another substance in the atmosphere that is needed by all living things is nitrogen. Nitrogen is used to build proteins and other chemicals in the body necessary for life. Nitrogen flows through the air, the soil, and living things in the nitrogen cycle. Certain types of bacteria add nitrogen to the soil through a process called nitrogen fixation. Picked up by the root hairs of plants, nitrogen in the soil becomes part of plant proteins. Animals eat plants and obtain the nitrogen that they need. These animals are either eaten by other animals and pass along the nitrogen, or they eventually die. Nitrogen is returned to the soil as decomposers break down the dead organisms. This shuffling of molecules through the water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen cycles is a vitally important ecological process.